I'm Judy Beishon from the Socialist Party, and I'm going to say a few words about the EU referendum. Right-wing politicians on both sides of the debate, who we hear on TV and in the press, are throwing out all kinds of threats, from the likes of Cameron and Osborne on our fate if Britain leaves the EU, to the likes of Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage if we stay in. What kind of choice is that? But there's a third choice, which is to expose the motives of the lot of those pro-big business politicians and take a position that puts the interests of ordinary working class people first. That's what we in the Socialist Party are doing. We fully support the idea of cooperation and solidarity between the peoples of Europe, but that's not what the EU is. It's, in reality, a number of institutions and treaties that fundamentally promote the interests of the largest corporations. They promote neoliberal measures, including privatisation, low pay, and cuts in public services. Just ask the working people of Greece what they've suffered at the hands of the EU bosses' policies. Wholesale destruction of jobs, pay levels, and services. So we believe it isn't in the interests of the 99% of people in society to stay in what is an EU created to serve the interests of the top 1% across Europe. But let's make it absolutely clear, we're at the completely opposite pole to the likes of the Leave campaign Tories or the racist UKIPers. We've been in fact active in the campaign of TUSC, the trade unionist and socialist coalition, precisely to stop right-wing Tories and UKIPers being granted official status to speak for the exit side. We have nothing in common with them and their anti-immigrant, pro-capitalist positions. On the contrary, we want to make heard an anti-austerity, anti-racist and socialist campaign. Some people argue that it would boost those racists if the exit vote ends up winning, and therefore we should all vote for Cameron's side. But in reality, an exit vote would throw the Tory party into even greater turmoil than it's already in, and neither wing of that party would be in a position to spearhead a return of the Tories when a general election comes, which could be sooner rather than later in the event of an exit vote. And UKIP is far from having the necessary popularity to make big gains in an election. Far more likely would be an opportunity for the Jeremy Corbyn-led Labour Party to seize the initiative, with the potential that it could generate a massive groundswell of support if it decides to stand for a complete break from the Tory policies of endless austerity. At present, unfortunately, Jeremy, along with a number of the trade union leaders, are on the side of remaining in the EU, so they aren't helping to turn this referendum into a verdict on the Tory government that could lead to it being ousted from power. They cite small benefits for workers in Britain from provisions like the EU social chapter, among other issues, to justify their position. We've analysed these, which are really EU side products, in our articles and exposed them for the little they are in reality. You can read about this on our website and much else that explains our socialist standpoint. Join us in opposing the Bosses Club that the EU in overall essence is. Join us in campaigning against Tory austerity and for a democratic socialist alternative that would guarantee decent jobs and living standards for all in society in all generations.